Let's just do a little launch. Oh my goodness, that was full throttle right there. Nobody can say anything to you when you're riding this thing because it's like the most legal e-bike ever. We'll help it up the hill here. Oh. This is the Cycrown Cycrun, and even though it looks like a scary moped style e-bike that can go 1,000,000 miles an hour, if you look a little bit closer, it's actually pretty tame. For example, the battery down here may look like every other 48 volt e-bike battery, but it's actually a 36 volt 10.4 amp hour battery, and the motor in the rear here is a 750 watt hub motor. Now those are some pretty tame specs for a bike that looks like this, a scary, evil moped style e-bike. Now to further add to this bike's tameness, Cycrown has limited this thing to only 20 miles an hour on throttle only, and they claim that this single battery version can get 55 miles of range, which might be true if you're being pushed half the way or if you're pedaling this thing the entire way. But they do have a dual battery version of this bike as well, goes right up here, and they claim that that one gets 155 miles of range. Now the frame has this really cool vintage cafe racer style look, and you can see on this model we have this beautiful white paint job on here. They have the typical black, I think they have like a navy blue, and then they have this white color. On the front, Cycrown gives you the old headlight horn combo, and then there is a rear tail light that does include turn signals on this. You also have full suspension front and rear. The rear is just a coil shock. Front is also just a coil shock too, and it's non-adjustable. The tires on this are familiar. They are 20 by 4 inch Chow Yang tires. In the middle here we have our pedals, and you can see that it's only one speed here in the rear. This is definitely more of a throttle type of bike. And they give you cable disc brakes in the front and rear, which should be fine on this bike. It only weighs about 76 pounds, so it should be plenty, especially when you're only going 20 miles an hour on this thing. They also give you a grab handle here in the rear, and then the screen is your sort of basic e-bike screen that you might have seen on other bikes before. You get your assist level and your power bar there. It tells you your speed and some other basic information. And they also give you your half twist throttle, which really eases you into the power, as you can see. And this is also how I look sitting on the bike. It's pretty comfortable for me at 5'9". 150 pounds with a 30-inch inseam. I feel like I'm pretty high up on here. This seat is super thick on here, but I can barely just not flat-foot it, kind of either leaning to the left or right. So this is a pretty high standover height. You're probably gonna wanna be a little bit of a taller rider. If you're a shorter rider, you're definitely gonna be doing one of these where you're leaning over to the side. But for my frame, this feels really good. The handlebars are nice and low, how I like it. You can kind of maintain more of an upright position. And then pedaling awkwardly on the kickstand right here, leaning over to the side. Seems like it might be decent for pedaling, even though you only have one speed on here. Of course, you get that really cool moped style e-bike styling, so I think this might be a good bike if you're a parent worried about your kid going too fast, because as far as I know, you can't unlock this thing. I was sitting here for like 10 minutes trying to search Google to find out how to unlock this thing, and I couldn't find out how to unlock it. Or if you're just somebody who's maybe more worried about the e-bike laws and stuff and you don't want to have an illegal e-bike. So I think this would qualify as a class 2 e-bike. But what do you say we get the Cycrun out on the road and see how it does in the real world, and even a little bit of off-road testing as well. All right guys, so out here on the Cycrun, let's just do a little launch. Oh my goodness, that was full throttle right there. This thing, it doesn't even ease you into the power. It like asks 10 people if it's okay to get going before it actually gets on the power. But as you can see, we're limited to 20 miles an hour on this thing. It is a true 20 miles an hour because according to our GPS, it is 20. So we're not gonna be doing any crazy speeds on this thing. This is a very tame bike like I was talking about back in the garage. Nothing crazy about this. But I mean, overall, it feels pretty good. I'm just kind of cruising around here at 20. I think there is cruise control that you can turn on in the settings. And let's not forget, this is a 36 volt bike, so it's not gonna be super peppy anyways. This is definitely a bike that you're just gonna cruise around and be just safe and chill on, honestly. Brakes feel okay. I mean, they are cable brakes, and this isn't a very heavy bike, and I don't think I've bedded them in completely yet, but you know, we'll just get up to 20 miles an hour here any day now, and then I'll slam on the brakes. Yeah, I think that's totally fine for what this thing's capable of, going 20 miles an hour. And it is a true 20 mile an hour bike, because even if I do, even if I do ghost pedal like this, it's still limited to 20 miles an hour. I can't even like pedal to go 28. The funny thing is, nobody can say anything to you when you're riding this thing because it's like the most legal e-bike ever. Why don't we go off to the left here and do a little bit of off-roading here. I know this thing's not gonna be able to go up hills, so I'm not even gonna bother with like a hill test. But you know, we'll just kind of start from a slow roll. Oh yeah, this thing is kind of pathetic up hills. It does not, it really eases you into the power. This is just my theory, but I think Cycrown is probably targeting this thing towards younger riders and people who are newer to e-bikes, because it's just, this is like the safest e-bike ever. You know, you can't do wheelies on this. There's no way you're gonna be doing wheelies. It just eases you into the power too much. But that doesn't mean that it feels bad. I mean, going over this grass, this bumpy grass, it feels really good. I think the seat's helping out. And this rear shock is actually pretty good. It's a 650 pound shock. Let's go down here. It's a 650 pound shock. So it's not as stiff as a lot of other shocks that are like 800 or 1,000 pounds. That kind of leads me to believe that this is sort of made for lighter riders and smaller riders. You can see we're making our way through this trail, no drama. We're not getting anywhere fast, but we are able to go off-road on this. And it's really not a uncomfortable bike at all. It feels pretty good off-road. It's probably just because I'm only going 20 miles an hour. I'm not going super fast and hitting bumps really quick, but it feels really good, even though it's really not an off-road bike. Oh, big tree branch. Oh yeah, I ran that over, no problem. And styling wise, this thing is pretty cool. I like the white paint and everything. It's kind of a smaller frame. I have to sit pretty far up on the seat, but I mean, overall, it's a pretty cool style bike. I like bikes that are in different colors than typical, like instead of just the regular old black. You know, there's nothing wrong with it, but it's cool to kind of stand out a little bit. You got the white frame and the brown seat, just a little bit more unique than your average bike. But what do you say we get back on this thing, heading out here? My God, this thing eases you into the power. Holy crap. We'll help it up the hill here. Oh, yeah, you gotta pedal. There's only one gear on this, so you're limited with what you're working with, but we'll just take it off over here and hop on the street and see how it does on the road. We've gone about 2.5 miles and we're already down 1 battery bar on this thing, so I don't know if we're going to be getting the 55 miles of range like they claim. Maybe if you're pedaling on this thing, but hitting the big bump here, it's pretty comfortable. Definitely not the most uncomfortable bike I've ever been on. It's a pretty comfortable bike. It feels good. The thing about this being a 20-mile-an-hour limited bike is you're gonna have to be riding off of the bike lane or way up on the shoulder to stay out of the way of traffic. You're not gonna be flowing with traffic on this bike, that's for sure, at 20 miles an hour. It is a really comfortable ride. It's kind of hard to screw up the riding experience at 20 miles an hour on a bike. You know, it's really not a scary speed at all. Definitely better than walking or having to pedal everywhere, that's for sure. It handles really well. You know, Cycrown makes some really good bikes. I've had like 3 of their bikes at this point, and they just make some really good stuff. The fit and finish on their bikes is usually really good. I'm not hearing any weird squeaks and rattles. The brakes aren't squeaking at all. So Cycrown just has a level of finish and polish that I really like about the company and everything. They're not paying me to say that. I just genuinely do like Cycrown's bikes. Really, they don't make much stuff for me personally. I tend to like the faster bikes. They're sort of more like a big company, so they make a lot of legal, quote-unquote, e-bikes where they're not going to be pushing any crazy speeds, and you're going to be able to do the speed limit and everything on this. Like, for instance, this one's limited to 20, and, you know, that is basically within legal limits of anywhere in the US as far as I know. So if you've had other Cycrown bikes, you kind of know what you're going to get. It's just a well-built, solidly finished, nicely polished product. I mean, I don't really have anything bad to say about Cycrown as a company. Boy, it's windy. Wow, we're already sagging down to 2 battery bars here, and we've only been riding about 4 miles on this thing. That's actually pretty surprising. I mean, I know it's a 10 amp hour battery. You know, I am riding this thing full throttle. That's probably one of this bike's weak points, is the fact that it is a 36 volt, 10 amp hour battery, because for this price, you can get bikes that are 48 volts. They're not gonna be from big companies like Cycrown. If you hit up Cycrown and you have an issue with your bike, you're probably gonna have better support than you would just some random company like a lot of these bike manufacturers that are just popping up nowadays. That's the advantage of buying from a bigger company like this. Your support and your after sales stuff is going to be handled probably a lot better because they have a bigger reputation on the line there. Just on bike trails like this where this thing kind of belongs, it feels really good. It's smooth, it's not scary at all. Power delivery is painfully slow, but you know, that makes it very safe, so it could be appealing to a wide variety of people. And honestly, if you're looking for a entry-level sort of first e-bike, this is a really good option. And even if you are looking for a bike for your kid too, this is going to be a really safe option. You're not going to have to worry about them doing wheelies and like unlocking it and going crazy and doing dangerous stuff on their bike. You know, they can really ease into this and get comfortable on two wheels with this thing. So let's talk about pedaling on this thing. I'll slow down a little bit here. You do have one speed, like I said, and I'm in pedal assist 5. I think this is just a cadence sensor. I mean, it'd be kind of pointless to have a torque sensor on a bike with a single speed like this, but again, same thing with the throttle. It really eases you in. You can kind of add some power actually at 20 miles an hour on this thing if you're really pedaling, but the seat is so wide, I can see your legs getting really irritated just from having to pedal like that. This seat is like super overstuffed. They shoved a lot of padding in this thing, so your legs are kind of rubbing up against the seat. Speaking of the seat, it is pretty comfortable. I mean, it's relatively soft. It's sort of a medium feel. Oh my gosh, man, we're hitting some really strong wind. This thing is struggling. So I really think this bike is for somebody who is either new to e-bikes or is like a young kid if you're buying this for your kid, because it's just going to be a really safe, approachable way to get comfortable on electric bikes and everything and just be comfortable on two wheels like this. Even though you do have a limited top speed, you still get those really cool moped style e-bike looks. You know, it looks like a mini cafe racer, mini motorcycle, so that's really awesome. You get really comfortable full suspension on this thing still, and the ride's just been really, really good on this so far. The acceleration is not going to blow you away. So the price that they're asking for this bike is $699, so just under 700 bucks. And honestly, for that, you can get a lot of bikes for around $700. There's some really good deals to be had out there. And I forget what discount code they're offering on this. I will leave that in the description so that you guys can check that out. Really, a 36 volt, 10 amp hour battery at this price point is a bit ridiculous in my opinion. I think they should be offering at least a 48 volt, at least 13 to 15 amp hour battery really would be ideal. But I think as it stands, just retail price, it is a little bit expensive for what they are offering on this. But I mean, if you want a solidly built, you know, reliable bike from a good company, I think that Cycrown is a good option for you. You know, they have a good track record of being reliable. Their support should be pretty good too. And you know, like I said, I've had multiple Cycrown bikes in the past and they've been really good. The thing with Cycrown though is they haven't been great value bikes necessarily. Kind of like I was saying with this one, they're just a little bit overpriced for the specs. Don't buy a Cycrown bike if you want some speed demon, super fast bike. You know, you buy a Cycrown bike if you want something that's sort of just a normal bike, compliant, not really gonna piss off any cops or anything. You know, that's kind of why you buy a Cycrown bike, because it's kind of a safe option. All right, so back from our ride on the Cycrun, and we went about 11 miles. And this battery gauge was flashing at me for like half the ride. I actually thought the battery was gonna die. But right now the voltage is sitting at 35, and that's a little bit less than half dead on the battery. So I think that you could probably get around 15, maybe 20 miles of just throttle only on this thing. That battery meter isn't accurate at all. Usually it's a little bit optimistic. This one has the opposite problem. It shows that it's lower than it actually is. But overall, my final thoughts on the Cycrun, I think that this is a decent bike. I just don't think it's a great bike necessarily for the money. I think for around $700, you can get a lot of awesome bikes. But if you do want something from Cycrown that is a moped style bike, this is one of their only options really, and you can get that second battery if you're worried about battery range. I think the biggest downside of this bike though, besides its price, is the fact that it only has a 36 volt 10 amp hour battery. That, in my opinion, for this price range is just not really acceptable. Everything else though feels really, really good. Like I said, Cycrown makes really great, really well thought out, well designed bikes, and this is no exception. Every Cycrown bike that I've had has been awesome, and I think that if you go with this, you're gonna be happy with it. So any discount codes will be in the description for this bike. If you can find a good deal on this thing, I'd say go for it, but at 700 bucks, I don't know, it's a bit iffy. Just being honest with you guys. I might ruin my relationship with Cycrown for saying that, but hey, it is what it is. I want to be honest with you guys. So that's it for today's video, guys. Go ahead and pick one of these up if you're interested. Use the link and the discount code in the description. With that being said, guys, I will see you all next time. And if you want some videos on faster e-bikes, I'll link some playlists down below in case you're looking for something a little bit faster for around the same price. All right, everybody, catch you guys in the next video. Take care.